My wife betrayed me, but the consequences of the betrayal went much deeper than I could have imagined. The venereologist was a key witness to the terrible secret that ruined my life. Get ready to hear a shocking adultery story that will turn your world upside down. We begin. Good afternoon, back to the beginning. I met a girl on the internet. We corresponded for a long time. It turned out that they lived in the house next door and went to the same school. We started dating. I was courting for a long time, fell in love, and had sex for the first time 6 months after the first meeting. Everything is great. Dated, made love, and stuff like that. I was in seventh heaven in part. Didn't propose because I lived with my parents and didn't want us to live with them. After a year and a half, the sexual problems began. Somehow she started to be less interested in me, not as often and not as enthusiastic about me. She was taking birth control pills from the beginning and earlier. She used to go to bed early in the evening, saying that she didn't get enough sleep and all that. After 2.5 years of communicating, something went wrong with her health. Anyway, I'll tell you straightforwardly, she got something damaged during sex, and the result was constant thrush. Well, she blamed me for everything, that it was your fault for having sex when it hurt me. Although, I tried my best to make it feel good for both of us. Anyway, there was no intimacy. I told her that I would break up with her if he didn't show up in our lives. After a while, she said we needed to be apart. I asked her why. How so? She said that I had decided that we needed to be apart, and that was it. In general, we did not see each other for a few weeks. I was really worried a lot. I was nervous and drunk, and so on. I wrote to ECMS saying that I was sorry. Guilty for thinking sex and me when you felt bad. And we didn't write back, like, I'll think about it, I need time. But if anything, maybe I'll come back. One night, I was waiting for her outside the house. Since I lived close by, I didn't have to drive far. I watched her go out for a ride with her bike, and a kid from the neighborhood walk towards her. I was standing behind a tree 20 meters away, watching the whole thing. In general, they were kissing, hugging. I was just in shock. My legs were shaking. I thought I was going to go out and kill them both. I thought I was going to go out. I was going to beat the both of them up. I came out from behind the tree. I caught up with the guy. I pressed him physically and mentally. I asked him what he was doing and how he was doing it. I answer him no. We correspond recently. We have met once. I told him that he shouldn't make fun of her. She was my future wife, and to get away from her. Then I started to ask my friends about her. In general, they all spoke well. One acquaintance just said that she was Skyping with him and wanted to meet. I call her home after what happened. Her mother picks up the phone and I ask her what is going on with your daughter, to which she tells me, "You know, you kind of missed your chance." I'm shocked. I say, "What's wrong? Why is she acting like this? That the wedding and everything." I say, to which the mother says, "I'll talk to her." In about an hour, she calls me back and says, "What do you want from your mother? Why are you calling me?" I said, "Go to hell. I saw everything." And that was it. In the end, after a month, she came to me to apologize, and I forgave her. They say she loves me. You're the best, and all that. When the whole breakup thing happened, I felt really bad. I called an old acquaintance I used to work with, and she and I kind of had an affair. I shared that I had broken up with my girlfriend and everything, sex, and just off the charts, went abroad, super there, but really missed mine. Came back from vacation, started dating two at once, and neither of them had a clue. After a while, my first girlfriend at my house found old vouchers with the names of mine and that second girl, a scandal with Sora that Housto. You went with her and said that one, well, I say, the hell go through my things, she was hysterical. I said that she was at fault when she said that let's stay apart. If you have someone, go to her, her words. In a word, as a result, I failed with the second girl. I invited the first girl to live with me, separately from my parents. Since I had solved the apartment problem, we lived together, The sex was sometimes normal, sometimes good, sometimes so-so, well, in general, more or less. For a long time, she remembered me. Very long remembered that second girl. Then 2 years later, we got married. We had a gorgeous wedding, lived 2.5 years in a marriage. I straightforwardly tell her that I want children. She answers me, "You have problems at work now, and you won't be able to support us when she has a child." We were talking about it. I have my own business. It's true it has shaken the finances, and not very well. The apartment, the cottage, several cars. I work. Yes, work. I work hard as a horse. I think how to do everything. She goes all in jewelry, in diamonds, drives my cool car. She complains that she spends a lot of money, even at work, where she is employed. She was once asked, and where all this came from. She told me in jest, and answered then. Nina sucked, and presented. From me she asked to take her to a restaurant, buy her a new mink coat, and a trip abroad, somewhere to the Seychelles. I, understanding that she herself does not earn so little at her job. I tried to do all our purchases 50-50ths, although I myself pay for the apartment, the summer house, buy food, some small things, and so on. She complained that she lacks help around the house. We both work, but we do not have children. In general, over time sex between us was no good. Then I do not want it. Then a headache. Then something else. Everything through the force. We come to the cottage, lie down on the couch and watch TV, and I say, we come to the cottage, lie down on the couch and watch TV, and I say that I have had a rest. Let's spend some time with each other. And she says in response, I do not want to. But if you want, let's go. But only for you. In general, the intimacy was, but so, to get off. In short, this picture began to strongly stress me. I started sleeping with prostitutes and received unforgettable pleasure, began to drink, smoke cigarettes, and eventually it came to that. I come home from work, lie down to rest in front of the TV screen, ask her to just lie down next to me. I hear that I am not far away. I keep telling her how much I love her. I hug her, kiss her, tell her that she is the best. Eventually I got tired of it all, and I decided to leave before she went to bed. I stopped hugging her, kissing her, saying nice words. She noticed it right away and started to ask me what happened. And I told her in response that I was tired of doing all this and was beating the wall. In the end, she went to a psychologist and came back, lying in the bathroom and crying. She told me that the whole reason is me. When I hug her, it irritates her. Touching her repulses her. Intimacy she does not want. I told her to stay with her mother and take her things, took away her car and put it on sale. The first week I went crazy. Then I called to ask, how are you? She said living and everything. Like unusual, sad. I told her to make a list of what she lacked for happiness with me. A week later she came to me and brought it. And I will read it out to you now. The first, emotionality. The second, to learn to excite me, tenderness. Then the ability to be weak and carefree, affection and care. Help in solving moral and material problems. Confidence, respect for personal space. That is, the opportunity to be alone. Then help at home, cooking, cleaning. Then I want to feel like a girl. To open the door before you, give flowers, help me carry a bag, wash a car or fill it up. Then I would like to weigh under 100 kilograms, imagine friends, then want to learn to love yourself again. Here, verbatim, that is written in the list. I want to note that I gave flowers rarely, but gave help to carry a bag, affection, tenderness, helped to solve problems and moral. And as you remember the material. In general, it has now been 4 weeks, and I registered on a dating site, which I have not done for 8 years, began to communicate with other girls. Before I was not even a thought, but now burst. To summarize, I live separately. She began to call, ask how things are, and I offered to take all things to the end. Said that now she does not want to talk at all. I'm waiting for her to come, and at least asked for forgiveness. Then perhaps I will forgive. Only for the sake of what, whether she loves me, will not be worse when the child, whether she has no one at work, I still have feelings for her. Despite the fact that I communicate on a dating site, they are all parallel to me, these young ladies. Just because of communication, I feel much better. Advise me what to do. You can call it what you like. Just write it as it is. I don't give a damn. I need advice. The main thing is that it's real. Remember, dear listeners, we had a section where you had to determine the protagonist of a particular story on the scale of a deer. So we probably need another parallel to the deer. You have to determine the psychological age of the hero. It seems to me that this boy is 24 to 32 years old. Well, about that, do you agree with me or not? What is this reasoning about sex? What is it? When he see or not enough? So take it first, respected protagonist, or even the author of this story. Take it first to talk, get to talk. So rich, so cool. Well, please, pay money to a family psychologist. In our profession, there are enough of them in every city, in every country. Go there, solve this problem, and everything will be happy. Next, I think that the girl actually had someone. Because if, well, the girl, I beg your pardon, it's the wife, the author. Because if there were some hints of STDs, so to call them, even the lightest, so to speak, I think that you are an adult and knowledgeable person, and you understand that you have to be checked at least once a year, and I think you did it. And if you had nothing, well, what can we talk about? And in confirmation of this, in fact, given all your capabilities and the situation described, I would probably advise to move on. And that's all. You have everything ahead of you. You are a young guy. She is a young girl. You will find their people and will be happy. No need to torture each other. No need to produce toxic, unhappy families, of which, unfortunately, too many have grown recently. And our channel is actually about the consequences of toxic relationships made, so the story says. And now on to the second story. On my doorstep is a woman who was once my wife. We separated because of her infidelity, but now she's coming back with her terrible request. Get ready for a terrific story that will expose secrets and turn my life upside down. We begin. Hello. The thing is, it's been about a year since I divorced my wife. For a reason. And that's after 6 years together. This was my second marriage. My first wife and her son, unfortunately and sorrowfully, died in a plane crash while returning from a resort. I thought at the time that my life was over for me, but she was there for me the whole time. She supported me in every way and didn't let me fall into the abyss. I do not know. It is unlikely that I would have come out of such horror alone. Then gradually we became close and eventually decided to get married. And then after 6 years of what I thought was a happy marriage, she told me that we needed to have a serious talk. She confessed that 6 months ago, she had met a man she wasn't sure at first. Then she didn't know how to find the right words to not hurt me. And now they are serious. Said she could no longer cheat on me and live on two fronts, that she probably never loved me. She just needed my support. Said she was leaving him and asked not to prevent a divorce. And later she admitted to me that my reaction was very surprising to her. And I only asked one question. Have you thought about it? Then she said she thought it over, yes, and decided. I kept calm, though I was raging inside. This I can confess to you. I didn't insult her. I didn't make any scenes. Just thanked her for everything she did for me. I apologized for not being able to make her happy. Wished her happiness with her new husband, and added that I would divorce her without the slightest problem. We have no children. Neither do we have much to share. My apartment was bought long before our marriage. She wasn't even registered in it. I helped her pack her things and even called her a cab. We parted peacefully, without any fighting. We stayed on good terms, you could say. She said she had expected it all. Scandals, screams, tears, persuasion. But nothing like that. And that made her very vulnerable at the time. After the divorce, we called periodically. Rarely did she come over for a chat or so. Little things like coffee, for example. I'll admit it. It was hard at first. I wanted to howl and climb the wall too. But then my niece came to my neighbor's house to study, a student, 19 years old. By the way, we don't have much of an age difference. I'm in my 40s, and the ex is not 36. Anyway, a neighbor asked me, "Can Julia come and study with me?" Since she has no internet, and I do. I said, "Let her come, why not?" I gave her my son's room. It's got internet and Wi-Fi, and I just bought a new computer, almost right after the divorce. Slim, beautiful girl, almost model-like. She didn't bother me that much. I'd bring her coffee or dinner. At first she refused, probably out of politeness, but I insisted. She even fell asleep there a couple of times, but I didn't wake her up. I put a pillow under her head and covered her with plaid. She practically came to me every night and stayed until late. I even gave her the keys. Then we started talking more and more often. She came from far away. She lived with her parents in a village. Her father sang a lot and died of the same booze. Her mother was more interested in her private life than in her daughters. She managed to get out of that backwater and go to university on a budget. I invited her a couple of times to the cinema, to a cafe. In general, we started a relationship, and she moved in with me. We started to live in a civil partnership, but then my ex-girlfriend stepped up. As soon as she found out that I was not alone, she literally went off the chain. She started calling me several times a day and imagined all sorts of things. She asked me if I was not embarrassed by the fact that I was her father. I said no. I do not know why it embarrasses her. Said she was with me for the apartment, for the money. Well, yes, I do not make bad money. She started showing up at our place more often. Above a word, she became too much in my life. I tried to tell my ex-wife that even though she left me, I respected her choice, even though it was not in my favor, and I asked her not to interfere with my personal life. One evening, I came home from work and found Jolka in tears. The thing is that Jana, that was my ex-girlfriend's name, came over and told her a lot of nasty things. She told Julia that I was with her on purpose to annoy her without Jean, that I kind of love her still and should only lure me back to her, that I will not let the little girl at the first set to fool me. She also said have fun for now. We have not long to stay. I told her that she does her laundry the wrong way, cleans the wrong way, irons her shirts the wrong way. It just pissed me off. I called Jean, and then it all came pouring down on me. She wouldn't even let me open my mouth for young meat. Said she was very guilty before me. She made a mistake a year ago. But that's no reason for me to ruin my life, and so on and so forth. I once again politely asked her not to call or come over again. I told her to pay more attention to her man, and we'll figure it out somehow, but she still keeps stalking me. She's dating into Julia or something else like that. So here's a question for you. Why does she be hating like this? I've always treated her with respect and warmth, despite what she did to me. Now why is she doing this? Why doesn't she leave us alone? I'm an intelligent person. I can't say the wrong thing to her. And tell me, how can I tell her to stop harassing me, stop bothering me, and help me understand her motives? Thank you in advance. Dear listeners, I will also add my request to you, please. Help the author to understand this situation, and I do not hide my interest to read your comments, as I too have some thoughts on this account. Well, we will talk about it there, in the comments under this video. I want to thank you for watching our videos and for subscribing to our channel, and if you haven't done it yet, you can click on the subscribe button, if it's red right under the video. Thank you also for giving us likes and dislikes. It helps us understand which videos you like better and which ones are worth dubbing more often. No farewell, and see you soon.